Hello viewers and welcome to Africa, the continent of hope. And speaking of hope, Kenya is hosting the Global Bioeconomic Summit for the first time. This is happening in Africa. When we say solutions happen in Africa, we mean it. We have leaders, innovators, experts. We have policy makers and policy analysts who've come from across the globe to shape the future of sustainable development, not only in Africa, but the entire world itself. So welcome once again to the African Union Chaplaincy flagship program on Africa, the continent of hope. And today we have none other than Dr. Rose. Today it's just joyous. So allow me to let her speak a bit about herself and also the work that she does, the amazing work that she does at UNEP headquarters, based here in Nairobi, Gigiri area. Welcome, Doctor.
Thank you. So my name is Rose Mwebaza. I am the Director and Regional Representative for UNEP in Africa. I say that to say in my director role, I manage the Africa office, and the Africa region is the largest region for the work that we do globally. But I am also regional representative, and that comes with the responsibility of convening Africa on behalf of UNEP to engage in global processes, because we are a global body. And the best example I give of the convening role we play is convening the African ministers of environment and working with them with the Africa groups of negotiators to come up with Africa's common positions. The world is meeting in Cali now on the Convention on Global Biodiversity, and then we'll be going off to Riyadh for the Convention on Desertification, and then on the climate course of parties. And what we do is convene the ministers, work with the negotiators to come up with a common position. Because if 54 countries went with individual positions, then Africa really would not be able to negotiate and come up with tangible outcomes. And the one example of a positive, tangible outcome I can give that Africa was able to get out of a global process is the Loss and Damage Fund. Africa negotiated as a group, really pushed 54 countries, there's a lot of countries to negotiate as one. And when we were in Sharm el-Sheikh in Egypt in a very historical way, because it is an African country, we got that Loss and Damage Fund. And so that is what I do in UNEP, and as I always say, it's a real privilege for me to be doing what I'm doing, working for UNEP in Africa as an African. So it's professional to me, but it's also a personal thing, because it's a real privilege to be able to serve my continent at this time.
Thank you so much for that. And you know, we always say that Africa is rich, not only in terms of resources, but in terms of people like you who are touching and impacting people's lives. Now, since your tenure, can you say that most of the objectives that you had have been met, especially with such summits as the Global Bioeconomy Summit, the COP16 on, we have the current one that is there on biodiversity. We have also one that is coming up in Riyadh, COP16, right?
Yes.
So what are some of the objectives for the UNEP to such summits, and have most of them been met, especially from COP27 in Sharm el-Sheikh and also COP28 in Dubai?
I think people underestimate the power of a convening, and I like the way the South Africans put it. We have it in all our local languages, but the Indaba, the great gathering. In Africa, that's where we sat around a fire or under a tree and came up with these great ideas that transformed our societies. Because we sit in big conference rooms that are lit up, people tend to think it's fancy. In fact, we are planning for our future. And we now know, in my generation, we are living in your world, the world of the Gen Zs, because Africa, so what, 75% give or take is full of young people?
Yes.
So, but how do you create jobs out of a bioeconomy or bioindustry if you're not going to sit down and think, ideate, and then bring those ideas through an innovative process to a product on the market? Because Africa, as you've had the speaker says, we are still stuck in the commodity phase. We should be thinking of various products through the bioeconomy and bioindustry and bioinnovation, where we transform our commodities into various products. That's how we create jobs, That's how we grow industries, and that's how we get rid of poverty and create a prosperous Africa, the Africa that we all want. So I think this is very important. This summit is being held in Africa for the first time.
Yes. It's a big
What
deal.
it means, all the world's leading thinkers and experts and innovators around this are in Nairobi. It's not a small thing. The networking, the opportunities that are being identified, the partnerships that are being set up are better because we don't always get the opportunity to fly to these places. So I think this in itself, the summit, is a great achievement for our partners here in Nairobi who have been able to host it with our global partners. We live in a global community. To succeed in Africa, we know that no one succeeds alone. We believe in Ubuntu.
Oh, yes.
Together we can. And so our partnerships now extend globally, and this is what has been happening here. So it is very important.
I really like how you also
Yeah.
articulate some of the interventions, and
Yeah.
also you're impacting somebody who's listening to you right now.
Yeah.
So what, in the spirit of Ubuntu,
Yeah.
as you said, what will be your final remark to that person who's listening to you right there? And how can we bring this harmonization of ideas, innovations, youth involvement, government, parastatals, all of that? What is your word to them?
So my word to them is that we live in a knowledge economy now. When we industrialized in the 19th century, we relied on coal, which we now know is deleterious, and we're trying to get rid of carbon emissions. And we relied on heavy industry and metal. Our current world is a knowledge economy. It's well suited for the young people. The world's leading industrialists and billionaires, they don't own factories. Yeah, they're innovators, ideators, connectors. If you look at what Bezos does with his enormous enterprise, or all the billionaires that emerged out of the Silicon Valley. Kenya can be the next Silicon Valley.
True.
Nigeria, South Africa, and all the other countries, and Morocco and Egypt. And I think Africa were at a great time. So many smart young people, extremely well educated, enabled by technology and digitization to access all the knowledge and connect with businesses and ideas around the world. I think it's an exciting time to be in Africa, to be a young person in Africa. I know it can also be frustrating, being aspirational and idealistic, knowing what could be and what the reality is. But I think that gap between what could be and what the reality is what should spur on our young people. And it's a real great opportunity for the future.
Thank you so much for that wonderful intervention, and it has been a pleasure to host you on Africa, the
Thank you
Continent
so
of
much
Hope.
for having me.
Thank you too.
And I like the word Africa, the continent of hope.
We have
That's
hope.
exactly how I think about it.
Thank you so much.
Your Excellency Ambassador Caroline Vicini, Embassy of Sweden, Kenya, distinguished delegates, ladies and gentlemen, it is my honor and privilege to welcome you to the Global Bioeconomy Summit 2024. We're grateful and most privileged to co-host the GBS here in the natural city of Nairobi, Kenya. It is the first time GBS is hosted outside Germany and in Africa.
A world focused in tackling climate change, food security, and resource scarcity, the Bioeconomic Summit offers transformative solutions to ensure that we have a greener, more sustainable, and resilient global economy.
Alphonse Muia, and super excited to be a young person attending this Global Bioeconomy Summit 2024. Quite clearly, deeply appreciating Stockholm Environment Institute as well. With the growing population that we see right now, it's projected by 2050, the globe will be having almost 10 billion people. So how do we ensure that we have nutritional benefits of the food that these people need to have? How do we ensure that there is good and sustainable lifestyles at the time, as well as taking care of our environment? Again, already in the context of Africa, we're speaking about high levels of unemployment. So this speaks to quite clear pillars of where Global Bioeconomy Summit comes into support of ensuring, as an African continent, not only Africa but as a globe, we are in a polycrisis. We are talking of 3 environmental planetary crises, but then out of this polycrisis, how do we ensure that we develop a system of interconnected solutions as well? Bioeconomy is actually at the heart of this. With bioeconomy, we can quite clearly develop policy guidelines that support it. We have still dark areas in that field. What can we see in our rural areas in the African continent? For example, I am actually happy to say that I've been working to develop a value chain for baobab in rural areas, southeastern part of this country, where we have a lot of baobab trees, but then we really don't have exploration of the baobab value chain. This is just one example of some of the aspects of bioeconomy that are not explored in this country. We not only need to have simple products, or rather cheap products out of the value chain in the bioeconomy, but we want to ensure that we have clear innovation, research and development for us to create huge economic prowess out of bioeconomy. So as we have this Global Bioeconomy Summit focusing on sustainable bioeconomy solutions to global challenges, I think these are some of the areas that we could be looking at. Because even one of the areas that I'm working quite hard on right now is to ensure that we also bring in the aspect of having, that speaks a lot also to the Agenda 2063 aspirations of peace, prosperity, where we have such challenges quite a lot in the African continent. So we should also be having resilience of communities to be built a lot by these bioeconomic resources. So it's a challenge out of this very important Global Bioeconomy Summit that for the first time is happening in the African continent. The first time it's happening out of Germany. We need to work closely with many partners across board, bring governments in place, ensure that private sector is also involved, and the youth. I also reiterate that in the African continent, the median age of the youth is less than 20 years. So of people, basically, median age of Africans is 20 years. So this is like everybody. We have the biggest population of young people than anywhere else in the planet.
My name is Gabriel Dinda. A doctoral researcher. Very glad to have attended this Global Bioeconomy Summit. I'm here courtesy of Strathmore University and Stockholm Environmental Institute. Very glad to be here. As a doctoral researcher, I do my research trying to find out the impact of youth involvement or youth activism in adoption of policies. So I look at it in the area of adaptation in climate change, but also quite related with bioeconomy. So I'm just trying to find out the youth birth that we have in Kenya and in Africa, what other people call youthquake. Yeah? How does it translate to the adoption of the policies that assist in bioeconomy and also in adaptation? So this is what I'm trying to find out, and being part of this workshop has exposed me in a big way, in two ways I would mention. One is, of course, it has given me a chance to interact with the policy makers, and I would say the who is who in the bioeconomy space. And that is very helpful because now you get a lot of materials, you get a lot of research that is happening in different parts of the world. Yeah? So I've gotten to meet people who are doing similar research, but in the global north. And we have compared notes and started conversations that hopefully will lead to us having comparative studies that then now can help us to evaluate how is it here and how is it here, how is the youth involvement here and how is it here. So that has been a very good aspect of the summit. And also it has also given me a chance to see some of the efforts that the youth in different places are already making. Like one of the partners to this summit, the youth champions, the European youth champions that are here, who are just trying to highlight some of the efforts that are being made to mainstream ideas by the youth into the adaptation policies and also bioeconomy policies relating to bioeconomy. So this is such a good platform. My expectations in taking part in this has been met, clearly, because now I've gotten much more and hopefully started conversations that will end up in different ways. And also just glad to see that a lot is truly happening. Yeah? I was quite glad to with the presentation of the giraffe, the giraffe center or the giraffe company that tries to to bring in clean fuel or clean source of energy to be used in rural areas. Yeah? It's a bit sad that some of these very good projects that are proven, that are responding to a demand, still experience the same challenge that we talk about, the financing. It's a bit unfortunate that the flow of money to such impactful and promising projects is still not very predictable and consistent. This is something that maybe as we work on the financial infrastructure is something that hopefully will change, so that some good ideas brought by young people, by women, by different people who are doing different things to respond to this need, and this urgent need called climate emergency, and the need to have our common home truly taken care of in a sustainable manner. It is my hope that some of these initiatives and some of these projects will get the necessary funds and the necessary technological transfer to help us spur this growth. So well done on the organizers and every partner who took part in this. Very glad to have been part of the global
Very nice meal, African meal. So I just wanted to welcome all of you to this session. It's going to be a very special session where we want to launch two publications, some of which already was shared with you earlier during the day. And I just wanted, of course, to also welcome you to the dinner and to encourage you to unwind and network, take the opportunity, know your neighbors, make contacts, make bioeconomy come alive. I would like just, of course, to recognize the partners that have made this possible. First and foremost, our host, ECPE, our partner, the East Africa Community, represented by the East Africa Science and Technology Commission, and of course the Stockholm Environment Institute, and very gracious to the Swedish government through the Swedish Embassy in Nairobi that has been supporting the work that we do.